Okay, we are live, and I'm going to attempt to recuse myself to a quieter location for your convenience.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you still there, Mayor? Okay. All right. Hopefully everybody got the agenda. I just wanted to let you know that I guess there's going to be feedback in there. You can go into the website and get posted agendas if you didn't get one. Did Brooke send out a text or with the agenda?
I received one from you.
Okay, I sent out the agenda, but you can, as soon as the agenda gets posted by Brooke in the town, if you go into the website, you can get notifications. And so you have to create a user ID and a password on the website, but then you can get an automatic notification anytime an agenda is posted, and you can pick which ones you want to get notifications on. Just FYI. All right, did everybody get the copy of last month's meeting minutes from Van? Have a chance to review them?
Yes.
Any issues with what was in the meeting minutes?
No.
Would somebody like to make a motion that they're approved?
I'd like to make a motion to approve last month's minutes.
A second.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have a couple of different pieces of business to deal with today. First of all, the survey results. I wanted to make a point about the fact that the survey was sent out by the BCEDC to business owners based on the list that the town provided to them. But it was also on the website. So there were, if you could tell from some of the responses, a number of people that were not business owners that did respond. So I just wanted to point out that we do have kind of a mixed bag from the survey results of business owners as well as citizens that responded. What was your overall impression of the results? Anybody have an opinion?
Actually, I thought the contact with the town and officers and offices was a little higher than I would have expected.
Okay. You mean like the town council members and?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when I said, did you have interface with town council? Did you have interface with town manager, the mayor, yada, yada, yada. I thought it was a little higher than I would have expected. Most people on a day-to-day basis don't, you know, so I mean, it wasn't a whopping 95% or anything, but I wouldn't have expected that either.
Okay. Were you at all surprised at what part of the town that they interfaced with? Now, again, based on the fact that it was targeted toward business owners. One of the highest percentage of contact was with the business license part of the town, obviously, right?
Well, that includes, I would suspect that includes the short-term rentals.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't surprise me because they have to do it. You know, I mean, not that they wouldn't, but they have to, and they have to pay their taxes every month. So, you know, that generates contact.
Right. Yeah, it didn't surprise me that that was one of the higher percentages of contacts at all. Were there other areas that surprised you or not surprised you?
I think
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Rob. I think that maybe a second round needs to identify some questions that I think should maybe be asked, like, what's your foot traffic like? How is the signage coming to town? Is it sufficient for people to be able to locate you? Can people find you? Are the sidewalks around your storefronts, are they navigable? Do they need to be repaired? Because some of the sidewalks are cracked and, that kind of thing. How are your customers finding you? That's an important component if we're going to drive, guests and tourists to the local stores. We need to know how they're finding the stores to begin with. Is it simply they're driving by? Is it advertising? Is it contact with the town? Is it the sands, going to the beach? I think we need to have more information of that nature so that the stores have more data that they can then share with us as to what the traffic is like. How does everyone else feel about that?
So you would like to maybe do a follow-up survey with some additional questions? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not right now, but in, maybe perhaps fall,
Okay.
maybe.
Okay.
It's going to be a little bit of a tough time to get that kind of information, but I think going into a busy season, I think we'll get better.
Okay. One of the things I thought came out in the survey was that people would like to have, first of all, street music and more events that would draw people into town. And I know that hasn't happened because of COVID, but it should start happening again. And so I think one of the things that we probably want to encourage the town is to, continue to do that and get more events that draw people to the town. And maybe be able to publicize that in one way. Although the website was not designed to be a tourism site or a, social event site, it would be through the newsletter a way to highlight different businesses that exist. I saw some people respond back saying that they would like to, like I said, have some of their businesses highlighted so people at least knew where they were. And one of the things that we would probably like to have is the business list published on the website so people could go and see which painters, which contractors, which businesses are licensed to do business in town. So they could find people that are business licensed people.
Was there money in the budget this time for the street events?
I assume so. Kevin, do you know?
What do you mean the concert series?
I mean, like the festivals and the street concerts and all that. Was there money in the budget for it?
Yes.
Super.
Music on Paris starts back August 5th is our first concert.
Great.
Good. So
Yeah, we have it. When you look at the budget, it's under special projects, and it is just kind of a blanket number because it kind of moves. So I mean, events coming up. We are doing July 4th. July 4th is going to be big. Since we didn't do it last year, we spent a little extra on fireworks. So we have the biggest fireworks show in town, and then street music on Paris. And then street music on Paris is back August 5th. Is that series starts back? So.
Okay.
great. That's wonderful. One of the things that I was pleased to see was that they did feel like the way they wanted to interact, or one of the key ways to interact with the town, was through the website. But I think we got fairly strong feedback from the website saying, or from the survey, saying they would like to have more automated processes on the website. So they could maybe pay their accommodation taxes so they didn't have to go downtown, to turn those in. They could do that online as well as apply for their business license, because I know every year you have to fill out the form, go down, take it in and all that sort of thing. So I think I would like to see the town be encouraged to do more online. I don't know if any of you have ever tried to get a business license in the town of Port Royal, but I remember when I first applied for one, I went to the town and filled out the form, but then I found out I had to go down to the county and fill out a form there and get a state license and a county ID before I could actually apply for the town license. So there was a little bit of confusion back and forth as to what steps I needed to go through. So
This was in Port Royal, was it not?
what?
Isn't your business in Port Royal?
Yeah, sure. Mhm.
So if it was in the Port Royal, why would you require a county license?
Well, I think you had to have a state license for a short-term rental, because I also have a state ID. And it's
You don't need a county license for that. You need a state, you need to have a town on the website, and you need to have a town of Port Royal license if you're doing business in the town of Port Royal. But if you're not doing business in the county, you don't need a county license.
Well, I still have to pay the accommodation tax, and that's it's county payment.
You're in the town of Port Royal, isn't that where your business is?
You pay the 6% via the county website, My Doorway, and then
Yeah,
there's now 7%, and then you pay.
But that's for the state website. Right. Right. You pay on the state website, and you pay the town's portion, the 3%.
Right.
You don't need a separate county business license to do what you're doing in the town of Port Royal. So I don't know why they required you to get a county license.
Well, maybe I'm saying the wrong thing. I had to go to the county office in order to get the state ID, so I could pay accommodation taxes via My Doorway.
Oh, because you can just get that online through the state website. They just assign you an ID, and then you just pay the 3% to the town, and it's done. You don't even have to go to the county.
Okay, well, maybe that's changed. This was 4 years ago when I did this. But anyway, I think there could be a better clarification as to what the steps are in order to.
Clearly, I would say that's a great example.
Right. Right. What would be the top 3 takeaways that you came away from the survey that we could recommend to the town that would help? I already discussed my top one, is making it clear how you get the business license, what are the steps, and making it more online if we could. Anybody else have any?
I would suggest that maybe we include a plan for town ordinances. I know that in the past year, there's been a number of people that have been ticketed, or I hate to say threatened, but said, hey, if you don't do this, you're going to get $1,000 fine, whatever. And we don't really know that they're enforcing some kind of ordinance, like parking in the wrong direction or something like that, that is seemingly insignificant, but the $1,000 fine was dropped out, in the conversation. Is that really, if we could outline really what they're enforcing in these ordinances, I think that would make people a little happier.
Okay, now you're talking about for just general citizenry or for businesses specifically?
I'm talking about general citizenry and business. So I don't think the businesses pretty much know what they're going to do, but the people, the citizens on each of the streets. I know my daughter was stopped in the golf cart, so it said they were going to give her a ticket for $1,000 fine. She didn't get a little sticker. Well, you know, we didn't know that you're supposed to get a little sticker, but you get a little sticker. But it seems like an excessive fine. But at the same time, you know, who knows?
Well, I know at one time, the code enforcement officer had a kind of a door tag of the things that if you were a general citizen, these would be things that could potentially be offenses that you might get a fine for. And that way, you know, it was for things like trash cans being left out and things like that. But that could be, in fact, I think maybe that is on the website of what are those kinds of offenses that might generate a fine.
Well, you know, unless you know that there's an offense, you don't know to look it up. Maybe we could put in the weekly newsletter there, ordinance of the week, or you know, something that would highlight those, so that, you know, if you don't know that there's an ordinance for that, you don't know to go look it up.
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes sense or not. It's, you know, you're living along, moving happily, and then all of a sudden you find out that you didn't even realize you were violating an ordinance. And the golf cart thing is a perfect example in my mind.
I like that. There's we could probably look at, maybe see what the most common ordinances tickets are, like what's being given a lot, so that maybe that would need, because I mean, of course they keep records of that, and you can see, you know, maybe obviously that's what's not getting out there if they're constantly giving this specific ticket over and over and over again. But I was going to ask Virginia if at the end of the meeting with these recommendations, if y'all could kind of memorialize them, you know, then I can, and get those to me, you know, I can take those, because, you know, Van had to miss this meeting tonight. I can take those to Van and see if we can't get some movement on them instead of, you know, them. I know they'll be in the minutes, but if we can kind of pull them out of the minutes and just have specific bullet point 1, 2, 3, you know, it'd probably be helpful to get that, you know, just to, so get that to them, you know.
Yeah, I was thinking that we would potentially summarize what the survey results came back with in
Okay.
general.
That's it. That's kind of what I'm talking about. That's a good idea.
Yeah, and then I was hoping to have at least 3 or 4 of what we as a commission felt were the top 3 or 4 things that we thought the town should try and approach and deal with. So one of the things we've already talked about, and that was on my list, was the encouraging the street events and more events that bring people into town. So I think that's definitely one thing that we want to just highlight and say, continue to do that. And the more that we can do that, the better off the businesses would feel. The other thing that I had on my list was the continuation of getting some action on the port development. That seems to be very, very slow.
And that is the second most, it's got the second highest percentage on the survey,
Right,
for development.
right. Along with it, and it was just a close behind the making sure that the Marine recruitment base stayed here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know, Kevin, has the town done, or have they gotten any feedback on whether that's a real threat that the Marine base, not the Marine base, but the I don't, what's it called? Paris Island Recruitment
Yeah,
Center?
there's some Marine depot. Yeah, no, I mean, what we hear, that's not any serious conversations about that right now at all. So, I mean, that, as everybody knows, came out in like a conversation through one conference they were having. And I believe in the like environment that the conversation was having was just kind of what is every single option that we have as the Marine, as the military, the Department of Defense, as far as our military installations. And that was brought up, in that conversation. And then of course it went out into an article and then everyone read it. But I mean, they're bringing back Marine graduations. Marines can now, I think in June, they can start having they can have 2 visitors back. So I mean, they're bringing people back to graduations. They haven't slowed down. They're continuing to do co-ed graduations and co-ed groups at this point. So I mean, everything we hear from people that are at a much higher pay grade than us is that is not a serious consideration at this moment. I mean, of course, those things can change, but
it doesn't hurt to kind of make that keep your ear to the ground, make sure that the citizenry anyway feels and the businesses in town feel that that's a real key thing for the town of Port Royal itself.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We all believe that and push that every way we can. So
yeah. What else did you guys take away from the survey that we can ask?
There's a lot of interest in making sure that people shop local. So I'm not sure what we could do to facilitate that.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but Sean, we had a little extra money the previous year, and Sean did some videos highlighting different businesses in town that were then posted on the newsletter. So that's something that we might want to encourage if we can come up with some funds to do that. They weren't very expensive to produce. You think that would be useful?
Yeah.
Maybe some handouts that could be, when the families come to the graduations, if we had a Port Royal handout brochure that highlights what we can offer them, that might steer them here. They kind of come into town, and a lot of them do stay in Port Royal with the short-term rentals, and so they learn about things there, but not all of them obviously come to Port Royal. So, but I'm sure there's some packet or a welcome bag or something for all the families when they come onto the base to get their new Marine. Maybe we can impact it at that point.
Maybe even something to give VRBO owners to keep at their rental places.
Yeah, but I mean, we can also stick it in the bag and say, hey, we've got, ice cream shops. We've got a little beach that you can come. A lot of these people, believe it or not, haven't never seen the ocean. They come in from middle America and the first thing they want to go is see the ocean. So, just advertise our Sands Beach a little bit might get some of them in here. But, we've got some nice restaurants and things, and hopefully more of that will evolve. But somehow we got to get some kind of information in front of them so they can say, well, let's go to Port Royal and see what they've got.
I think that's an excellent idea. I think, we have these bags that say Port Royal that the town sells. When we went to reusable bags, they're 50 cents to the general public, but I'm sure they cost the town a little less than that. It wouldn't hurt if we had a list of short-term rentals or any of the other rentals in town that we could make a little welcome bag for and put it in that Port Royal bag and say, hand this out to any of your rentals or leave it in the house.
Yeah, that's definitely doable. But I'm saying, let's say when they come out to the base and they report to the base, okay, we're here, we want to go see our son's graduation. When they get there, a bag with Port Royal on it, and maybe on the back side of the bag list, Sands Beach, ice cream shops, great restaurants, shrimp boat docks, the things that they can see, just hand them the bag and have a visual so that they are even aware that Port Royal is here, actually, in many cases.
I think I like that idea of doing it on the back of the bag. I don't know how much additional cost that would make it to, you know, we could come up with a list of the things that we want to highlight, right? The local attractions like the Historical
Sure.
Society and all that sort of thing, Cypress Wetlands. all the
Well,
good
you know,
things.
yeah, but I think more like the sands and the ice cream and the seafood restaurants and the shrimp boat docks. The historical society, I don't think that many of the Marine families are going to go to the historical society. I think if they were going to go to a museum, they go to the Marine Corps Museum, you know, on base there.
Yeah,
But excuse me. But in any case, if we highlight what we can offer them, come and try, you know, the different restaurants, come and try Fish Camp, come and try Madison's and, you know, corner perk or cracked egg, you know, for breakfast. And, yeah, you know, I think we could work up some kind of list of these things that they can do. And if they come out and check out just a couple, that would bring a lot of money to town.
okay. I think we could, certainly we can put together a list and stick it in a bag. If the cost, you know, to have it actually printed is not if that becomes an issue, but I don't know, I've never been to the Marine Depot. So I don't know, can the town maybe offer to provide that as part of the welcome bag that the Marine graduates get?
I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't know why not, you know, because I'm not, you know, I'm not a Marine. I was in the Air Force, so I do go on the depot regularly, but it's something we could investigate to see, is there some kind of central processing point, you know, or maybe just have them on a table out by the parade field. I don't know. We'd have to discuss that. I don't have an exact plan right at this point, you know, where would be the best place to cause that conjunction between the people and the bag. But if people are not utilizing the monies that was granted to help refurbish their signs downtown, maybe we could use some of that money for, you know, a town-wise advertisement. I don't know if that would be a possibility or not, but I'm saying there might be some funds there to get this thing kicked off.
Kevin, do
We
we
could
have
also-
a liaison at the Marine Depot that the town interfaces with?
Oh, I don't know their name off right off the hand, but I mean, there are people that we deal with depending on what the issue is. I'm sure there's, you know, there are different people for different things. So we'd have to find who's in charge of graduation day, you know, who's the head of graduation operations and our, you know, parent welcoming liaison, whatever that position is, you know.
There's a business liaison at the at Harrison and at the Marine Air Station. We've gone out there and given fishing presentations and things like that. So there is a liaison for both military installations. I was going to say that as far as the bag thing, what we could also do is we could actually have our own redevelopment commission tent at July 4th, and short-term rental owners and businesses can actually take the bags and bring them and have them at their stores, which would be an easy way for the business owners to also see the redevelopment commission is interested in promoting businesses. How does everybody feel about that?
That's
You
great.
know, before, and I'm not sure if they still will this when they come back, but they had a ceremony where they actually give them the emblem, you know, for their hat. And from what I understand, it's a very intense and emotional ceremony, but everyone is gathering there. It's kind of like getting a diploma, you know, and we might be able to have a table or something with bags available, you know, with something in it, maybe a 10% off or something at the restaurants for when they file in or when they file out. But I understand when they gather, the ceremony it's quite impressive, and everybody is there, and almost all of them are in tears when they leave. So I would think that something like that, you know, but we'd have to offer them in the bag. Could be some incentives, you know, if we could talk to the restaurants and say, you know, 10% off, you know, whatever, just to get the people to come to your restaurant. I'm sure they'd still be making money.
Or
We could have the
copies of the
redevelop-
menus. I'm sorry, go ahead, Roger.
We could have the redevelopment coupon book.
Yeah,
That's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea at all.
It's a great branding exercise for redevelopment. I don't know that redevelopment has, I don't recall it. They may have done it. I've been in every event in 22 years. But, I don't recall ever seeing like the redevelopment commission, you know, out in full force at a tent, at a meet and greet and handing out things. And it might be a great way to let the local businesses know that the redevelopment commission is out and about and they're looking to drive business to their stores and their short-term rentals and things like that in the restaurants. So, but I think that would be, I'm very much about face-to-face, so I think that's a great idea. I don't know how everyone else feels about it.
I like the idea of having a tent at the 4th of July and at the street fairs. I don't see any, other than there's 5 of us, right, to man it.
Right.
We would each have to commit to be able to man some number of hours, right?
You got to throw in free beer if I'm going to do it.
What's your brand?
Any brand, cold beer's my brand.
Okay. Now we know what gets Rand motivated.
Actually, I'm a bourbon guy, but I can do beer.
I like the idea of a coupon book too, although I think it's going to take a little while to get a coupon book put together. You know, we have to go contact each group, but I think that's a worthwhile idea. I think we should pursue that.
I really do too. And if it'll draw them into one restaurant, because they come in groups of 10. You know, I don't hold me exactly to this number, but most of the families, when they come to their Marine graduations, they average 9 people per Marine, male Marine. For women Marines, it's 12. So if you get 12 people into your restaurant, okay, we've done something. We've done something.
Agreed.
Okay. These are all great ideas. Great ideas. I'm very pleased with your creativity. I think this is wonderful. All right. Any other things that we want to talk about? I don't want to cut us short, but I think we have a number of actionable items of doing things like finding out who the liaison is, who would talk from the town to the Marine Depot, and find out if we could do the thing like get the bags together. But I think we could go ahead and do the bags and offer to do a tent at the 4th of July and some of the street events. And I think we need to pursue getting that ready.
Yeah, we'd have to sit down and think about it. Don't want to drag this out anymore, but maybe on the redevelopment coupon book, we could just have that stuff printed on the coupon book and not have bags at all. You know, we could just have the face, and then, you know, here are things in Port Royal, and to get you interested, here's some coupons for the restaurant. I don't know if they charge for the Historical Society or whatever, but, you know, if anybody wants to see that, you know, you could put all that in the book and probably have them printed by the gazillions for not too much.
I guess
Or
that's
just-
one of the questions is how to pay for this. Obviously, the store owners would have a vested interest in offering coupons.
I would think so.
Helping them help. I mean, I don't know. We're not structured to accept money. And you know, I guess it's something the town council would have to take care of, the money part of it all.
But yeah, we just have to ask. But there was a pile of money that didn't get spent on the signs, as I understand it. Remember when we were trying to get people to upgrade their signs out front of the business, not too many responded. Maybe there's some money left there.
Right.
Actually, the amount of money that we had was not too much. I think it was like $12,000 that was in the budget last year that was used for Port Royal Pride. There was the second thing, which was the town signs, the outer edges of the town.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure how much money is budgeted for that if any. I think I'll contact Van and find out what the story is on the signs and the money that's, if any, is available.
Okay,
Unless,
well,
do you want to do that, or do you want to be responsible for that?
well, we can sit down and see how we want to do it. I can talk to Ben about that. There's a number of ways we can approach it. The businesses might be able to contribute a little bit of money for the printing if they have their ad in there, if they have the coupon. I'm not sure. I don't have all the answers right on top of my head, but I really think this is worth pursuing.
Yeah, I do too. I think we can go forward. I'll put together a couple of steps as far as getting the bags together or a coupon book together, and some suggestions as far as the events that we could participate in with a tent of some sort, if that's okay with you, unless one of you guys wants to do that.
I think it would be great if you get it ball rolling.
Okay, I'll start it and send it out to you guys and see what you think. Okay.
Okay. And maybe short-term rental people would like to contribute a little bit. If they $50-100 each, that might be enough to get us started. Businesses, if they put their coupon in there, contribute $50 for the printing, you might be surprised. I know when I had my retail store, my business plan was pretty damn good until I got to advertising. And I grossly underestimated the cost of advertising. So this is an easy way, pointed at a direct, specific group of people that are here to have a good time, do it up, party, visit with their Marine. They're all happy people because their young person is now a Marine. So it's a good group to target.
Right.
A couple items that were posted on Facebook. Debbie Ball says we could give a bag to all the new property owners in town.
Like a welcome bag. Yeah.
Welcome bag.
Like a welcome wagon bag. Yeah.
And then Megan LaFontaine says we could create two-sided deck of cards. They could also be at hotels and businesses. I know when we travel, most hotels have deck cards of local attractions. So
I never would have thought of that. That's a good one.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I think it's worth kicking around.
Yes.
It might be nice. I don't know if this is legal, but if we're not really making any decisions, if we could get together as a group where we could talk about this thing in a more easier manner, just to formulate a plan to get rolling. It's hard to do it all in this meeting on the internet, if you know what I mean.
yes.
Yeah. Let me find out whether there are some rules, and I'm not trying to be a bugaboo about this, but there are some rules about anytime a commission gets together, even though it's informal, whether there has to be a public notice and that sort of thing. So,
Okay, well, I don't know all the answers to that, but like if we're making votes and decisions and whatnot here, but in order to enable those things or to move them forward, we need to kind of do a long-term, a little longer group, and people probably don't want to sit through it. They're welcome to attend, but I'm just saying, I don't know.
yeah.
You hear where I'm
Just
going.
trying to be mindful of some of the restrictions that we're under.
Okay, well,
as
I
far
don't
as
know,
meetings.
so maybe we can find out and move
Yeah.
forward with that.
Okay. All right. I think we've got some great ideas here. I do want to get to something that Mayor brought up last meeting, was about the grants. And did you want to share anything with us about that?
I do. Actually, I'm going to send you all an email now. And I'm sure you're familiar, I'm sure everyone's familiar with the enabling legislation that we operate under, the community development law. Okay, so I'm going to send you the link to the statute, but specifically I wanted to respond to the financial side of it. So let me send you all right, I just sent you all the email, which has the enabling legislation. And I want to speak specifically to section 311090, which I've highlighted in the email. Under powers of Redevelopment Commission in general, item 8, to borrow money and to apply for and accept advances, loans evidenced by bonds, grants, contributions, and any other form of financial assistance from the federal government, the state, county, municipality, or other public body, or from any sources, public or private, for the purposes of this chapter. To give such securities may be required and to enter into and carry out contracts in connection therewith. And if you go to the enabling legislation, you'll see the other items that are related to this. But my point is that the legislation under which the ordinance gives this commission its mandate is that we can seek grants and monies from all of these entities, and those monies are which become projects. Like, let me give you an example, and this is totally hypothetical. Improve sidewalks around town hall. I'm making that up. So we apply for a grant for that. We get a grant. We present that check to council. We say we have a grant to improve the sidewalks around town hall. So that's what this grant money is for, and that's what it's to be utilized for. So we can seek monies from any entity pursuant to the enabling legislation that allows council to have these additional monies, not only to do improvements for the community, but we also have the ability to help drive the economic development, to seek grants to help drive economic development. So we have that mandate to do exactly that as the Redevelopment Commission. So first I wanted to make sure that, I'm sure everybody's already familiar with the legislation, but I just sent the link again, just in case anybody wanted to look at it. But I specifically highlighted section 311090, okay? So if you want to look at the legislation again when you have a moment. Also, the funding opportunities that we have. One that I want to talk about specifically, which I'm sending to you all, is there is a grant from T-Mobile, and it's pretty substantial. I mean, it's at least $50,000, and we qualify for it because we're a small town, and we have under the number of people that are required. There's a maximum number of residents, and we qualify for that. So all we need to do is the online proposal and let them know what we want to use the monies for, and also if we need any of the wireless connectivity that T-Mobile offers. So I know Van is not here, but if there's a pre-made proposal that the town sends out for the block grants and things like that, we can use that pre-made proposal and just cut and paste it and send it in with this grant, okay? Otherwise, myself and Roger, myself and Rand, myself and you, myself and Bernadette, or all of us can just come up with a very brief proposal. Let's say we wanted to apply for this T-Mobile grant to improve one of the corridors, okay? Then that's what we would direct the proposal toward. So we decide what the projects are, and then we pursue the grants that are available to us. So in addition to T-Mobile, I also, I'm sending you all now a very partial list of funding opportunities that are available to us as the Redevelopment Commission. And you'll see I sent at least 15. And we are eligible for all of them. Now, some we have missed because some of the, not the ones I'm sending you, some I've researched, we've already missed the deadlines. We should be applying for grants every day. There's so many out there that we are eligible for. So again, by bringing in these monies through grants and other funding opportunities that we present to council, that helps council help the community. So it's all very connected, but we have the ability to seek all of those opportunities ourselves as the Redevelopment Commission, because that's what the legislation allows us to do. So I don't want to discuss each and every one of those other funding opportunities, but I would like to get together a very simple proposal that we could craft, that we could apply for all of these grants and for different projects we want to do, like the bags is an example. That would be an economic development grant. You know, marketing materials and collateral, for example. We can get grants to improve the signage in town, lighting, sidewalks, corridors, monies to stimulate business opportunities, which leads me to my last email. I have received an inquiry from a company. It is a health and wellness company. I just sent you that email with a little description. It's a health and wellness company that's looking to relocate to Port Royal. They want to be in downtown, somewhere in downtown Port Royal, and they need 3,000 square feet. That's what they need to accommodate them. So we need to figure out if there is a building available, someplace that they can rent or buy. And do we have any tax credits or any kind of incentives for them? And that's not essentially a deal breaker, but I'm simply asking because we're going to get inquiries from other companies. And they're going to want to know if they get any kind of tax breaks or tax credits. So the most immediate thing right now is, do we have a place for a 3,000 square foot health and wellness company that wants to move into Port Royal? Like, that's pretty big. It's a great opportunity.
How did you know about this?
I was contacted. Somebody found out I was on redevelopment and reached out to me.
Okay.
So, in any event, you know, we have a limited amount of space for a 3,000 square foot business like that. I think I'm pretty sure the concrete building is out of the equation. So what do we have? Little brainstorming here. What do we have that might be appropriate that this business can occupy to bring their business here?
Well, the two things that come to mind are the Coca-Cola building, because I don't think the Beaufort contract company is taking up all that space. It still says space available on their sign. I don't know how many feet that is. And then the other one that I'm thinking about is, you know, where Ferguson Plumbing used to be, right there on Rebo. So
it's not quite downtown. It's not downtown. They were kind of specific that they wanted to be somewhere more in the downtown historic part of Port Royal, not necessarily, you know, right next to town hall or anything. And they were interested in actually purchasing a property so they could be their own landlord. So again, I think it's a great opportunity. I know we're limited in terms of, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, we're limited in terms of a rentable, a purchasable space for businesses. So, you know, an existing structure, that is. Like, I already checked out the building that was the former DSN building, but I know that's already under contract. The one that's on the curve on the way to the Naval Hospital, that is under contract. So that would have been an ideal location.
Well, there is a lot there on the corner of 16th Street and Paris that is for sale. I believe it's still for sale. On the corner of 16th Street and Paris.
Which location?
We can barely hear you, Rand.
yeah, you're mumbling. It sounds mumbled.
I'm not married.
Microphone is infected. You are my.
Okay. What I'm trying to say is, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. There's a lot on the corner of 16th Street in Paris. That's, I believe it's for sale. It's a clear lot that would certainly accommodate that building.
Right, but I think what their interest is, that would take time to build. I don't think they want to take that time to build out. They want to come into town and relocate their business into an existing building. The reason that this is important is not only because this particular company wants to move in, But again, that would be something that we need to have a process where we can help direct businesses that want to move here. And we need to have some idea of, do we have tax credits for them? Is that something we offer? Is that something we could offer? I know that Beaufort Economic Development Corporation has a process where they offer tax credits. Is that something that we do? But most important is, where might this company, what structure might they purchase that they can do a commercial business in our downtown corridor? I know I'm challenging everybody because there's not a lot of commercial space that's 3,000 square feet. But I know that's what they require.
I'm not aware of any other than the Ferguson Plumbing Building that's on Rebo Road. Somebody has done an awful lot of upscale development there just recently. Like, they put a nice fence around the property. I don't know whether that's because it's been sold and somebody's going to move in there. I don't know what the story is. I'm confused. I don't know.
Right. Kevin, do you know of any commercial space that would be appropriate or suitable for this company?
No, not off the top of my head. I need to get with, the planning and see if they have some sort of, list they can compile of, if you can give them parameters, like you said, of like size and what it needs and uptake and everything,
Okay. Well, I can get back to the company on that. Importantly, on these grants and financial opportunities, how do we want to approach those? Do we want to, who else aside from me is interested in sending these grants in and that sort of thing? Is anybody else interested, or do y'all want me to continue to pursue this? I have a couple of other entities on the line as well that I've had conversation with about funding, as they promised I would do after the last meeting. So, feedback from everybody?
Do we need to
Yeah, let me
ask
start.
Go ahead,
ask
Roger.
council if they would like us to pursue these grants? I mean, I can't imagine they would, but is it something we need to?
Well, we have the ability. The legislation gives us the ability to pursue these opportunities, and then if we are successful, then we present them to council to implement. So
I think we're also bound by what charter we have within the rules of the town. I think we have to at least get town council's review and approval or whatever in order to go ahead and pursue this. I'm not trying to drag this out. I just think we need to get a little bit of a confirmation on what we as a redevelopment commission, based on the ordinances of the town, are able to do.
okay, so to answer your question, the ordinance, which is derived from the community development law, references this legislation, and the ordinance that was created in 1997 by council is what the ordinance refers to, the act. This is community development law, and I can send you the ordinance if you'd like. But that was how the redevelopment commission was created in 1997. Council agreed. In fact, if you look at redevelopment commissions around the state, they operate under the state enabling legislation. City of Beaufort, Aiken, Congaree, Charleston, they all are under the community development law. So that's what our ordinance references when they talk about the act. We just have in our ordinance, we have it in like shorthand. They don't have the entire legislation written out. They reference the act, they reference the ordinance, and then the copy of the ordinance reference this specific statute. So that's how we know that the redevelopment commission is, its mandate is under this legislation. So it's not dissimilar from the ordinance. It matches our ordinance exactly.
Well,
Yeah,
I haven't
I
had
don't see
time to
council.
look at it. I need to look at what you sent me. And because,
I'll send you. Well, so I assume you had the ordinance, but I'll forward it to you as soon as the meeting's over. I can actually forward it to you right now if you'd like.
that's
Okay.
fine.
And I think it'd be great if y'all could look into those, and I think it would help just to keep like this specific grant that you're looking at, just kind of give council a heads up. This is the list that we're looking at. These are the deadlines on them, just so like I said, just so we're on the same page.
Duly noted.
I think,
Let me send this to you, Jenny.
okay.
But I think it's a great idea to go after these grants. How could it not be?
Yeah, I agree that anytime we can do something to help the town is a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if we were able to secure enough grants. And mind you, I've never heard, Kevin, you're going to laugh when I say this. I've never heard any governing body anywhere say, guess what, we're lowering your taxes. It's not something you hear often. But my point is that if we're successful in pursuing the funding opportunities, then council has a tremendous ability to make improvements without having to figure out how we're going to get extra money to do projects, because the redevelopment commission is like, firing on all cylinders and pursuing the opportunities that are available to them. And, we're getting in the mix for these grants just like other redevelopment commissions, but they're getting the money. You know what I mean? So we should be in the same mix as they are on pursuing these funds to benefit the community. And also,
I think it's
easier.
Kevin, you wanted to say something?
No, I was just saying, yeah, no, I think it's great. Like I said, just kind of, if we could just get a list of the grants, just kind of what they are, what the amounts you're asking for, what subject, or, what they're spent on, what the requirements are, not like the whole thing of them, but and when their deadlines are, just so everybody's on the same page,
Well, because you're the liaison, I obviously included all of the same information that and Devan as well, so everybody can see all of the opportunities that are available to small towns like ours that are under 50,000 people. There are all kinds of programs because the foundations are set up to give money. That's their purpose. Especially the nonprofit foundations need to give a certain amount of money away every year, and federal programs have to assign monies or they get lost. So they want to give those monies to qualified entities. I'm sorry?
It's use it or lose it.
Use it or lose it. So why not use it for our town and our town? And again, it makes things easier for council when there's money available to do projects that people would like to see done on, like, streetscapes and redone signage and gift bags and materials that we need as a redevelopment commission to promote redevelopment. It makes things a lot easier for us when we have a budget and a budget that we've been able to secure through our ability to get funding. So it's very exciting.
Let's look at the materials that you've sent us, and then let's maybe have, if we can, an informal meeting and review what we've seen and see what we want to go forward with. Is that all right? If we can do that.
Actually, I am actually sending everyone, if they don't have a copy of the 1997 ordinance handy, I'm just gonna send that to everybody so they can attach that to the town ordinance and the enabling state legislation, so everybody has their own folder, if you will, of the correct documents, so everybody's on the same page and we're all up to speed.
Are
Sound
you
good?
copying Van also on all these?
Oh, everybody is included on the, and so that's where it's important, as I said earlier. I know that Van had done a grant. Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong. It's for, I think it's the block grant to redo Paris Avenue. Okay, probably through the state block grant program. So if there's already a proposal that's been created, that we don't have to necessarily reinvent the wheel. We can take that proposal, we can, cut and paste it, and instead of saying, for example, to develop a streetscape on Paris Avenue, we can change that to improve lighting in the business corridor, or again, sidewalk and things like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of cut and pasting in some of this grant writing process, yes.
Mm-hmm. Right. So again, instead of reinventing the wheel, we can take that and we can use it to reply to many of these funding opportunities that I found. And that was literally just putting in the way I search things, but is grants available for towns under 50,000 people. Many opportunities.
Okay. I want to be mindful of everybody's time. Rand, you're on mute. Yes?
Okay, I'm sorry. What I was going to say is probably what we need to do is put together a grants proposal and present it to council and see if they agree that we can pursue it. Or maybe they can say, we'll start with this one, start with that, or whatever. But that way, we can get it together, we can present it to them, and they can say, yeah, good idea, pursue it. Or no, don't pursue it, we're not going to match the money. But anyway, we can get a decision from the council.
Okay.
Does anybody have a problem with that?
I think that's what Mayor was suggesting, right?
Well, what I'm saying is,
I'm having a hard time understanding her with the speaker thing the way it is. I'm doing my best, but I was just trying to.
what I was saying was that what redevelopment does, pursuant to the enabling legislation, is when we get opportunities in or grants and things of this nature, we present it to council, so they can say, yes, we want to do that project, or no, we don't want to do that project, or whatever. But obviously, projects we would be seeking would be keeping in line with the goals of council, and the goals which they state in their meetings and things like that. It would all be very compatible. It wouldn't be like, oh, let's build a spaceship in the middle of Paris. It's not going to be anything that's not compatible with the mission of the stated mission of the town, which is to improve the business community and improve the community visually, aesthetically, and things of that nature. Technologically speaking, that's what all of these grants are for, to improve the community.
Yeah. I don't want to cut you short here, but we've been.
I'm all finished. I'm done.
And
I'm sending everyone that email so that they have it.
great. We had another topic, but I think in the interest of time today, let's just, because it's sort of along what we were just talking about with the grants, is sites to be developed and that sort of thing. I think we need to probably adjourn since we're running behind.
And sorry about that, everyone.
No, that's okay. I'm interested to look at the materials you sent, Mayor, and then I'll be sending out a note with some action items relative to that, if that's all right with you.
Definitely.
All right, is there,
I'm going to put a motion to adjourn.
yeah, unless somebody has something burning that they want to talk about.
I do, and I'll make it quick. I really think that we need, as a group, we need to formulate a plan on each of the corridors on what kind of businesses we would like to seek to come there. I think that with the 10-year plan winding down and Mr. Mayor and Mr. Powell, Van agreed to provide, a comprehensive list, even though I guess they're online. We've got this group with the Beaufort County that's out actively seeking businesses. I think that we need to sit down and decide what we want in each of the quarters, and then we need to approach the county project and say, we would like for you to help us to find these type of businesses for this area. And that way we know what to seek and we know what to put in so that we can maintain the same sort of town and beyond. But everything's not going to be the same. Paris Allen business is not going to be the same as Rebo and, or the Morrill Road, or things could be pretty limited over by the bridge, over by the marina. But anyway, I think we collectively need to come up with a plan. And we use the consolidated plan, we use the available, and even the grants. We can roll the grants into part of that plan. So that way we would have something to see how we want to proceed. And in fact, I'd really like to make a motion that we do that.
Okay, does anybody want to make a motion? You made the motion.
All right.
I make
Did you
the
make a
motion.
motion?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, second it. And we'll make that, if nothing else, a topic in the next meeting. And everybody, if we have some preparation time, we can prepare what the corridors are and what businesses we think ought to go in those particular corridors before the meeting,
Yeah.
okay?
That's a tall order.
So we know how to drive the boat
Okay,
or steer the boat, or at least want the boat steered.
yeah, it is a
Okay.
tall order, but we got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Do you want to make your motion
Okay.
now?
I'm making a motion to adjourn. Is that what you want?
Yeah,
Second.
To adjourn.
and Mayor seconded.
She desperately wants it, I can say.
So at 6:02, we adjourned. Thank you all for
Thank you.
participating. And I'll get some notes out to you. Roger, you're going to send out some draft notes at some point, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I'll get some notes out about the specific things we've talked about and maybe see if we can have an informal get together here in the next, before the next meeting.
At the beer garden.
Maybe a workshop. Is a workshop something people would be interested in? So we can just brainstorm ideas.
Yeah, maybe if we call it a workshop, that would take some of the formal restrictions out of what we could do.
Right.
Okay, all right.
Guys.
Thank you all for participating. I'll get some notes.
Thank you.
out to you. And thank you, Mayor, for all your information and everybody's participation. Thank you.
Good night.